First class only was one girl, there was one guy. This is a good mix. Okay, so my name is Bev Dallas, and I have been teaching fitness classes and certified. I've been teaching since 1982, and I've been certified since 1984. So I've seen a lot of different trends in fitness, and I'm going to be covering Chapter 6, Unit 6 for you. If you've already had gotten some information from Dan, we're going to be working on the FITT training program. But I'm going to go through some other things too. I also coach the Oaks cheer team, and I'm a fitness instructor still, and a personal trainer. So, I want to talk about fitness and what you all think the definition of what's fitness to you. What does being fit mean, or fitness to you mean? Yeah.
Exercising regularly and eating correctly.
Okay, that's good. Erin, did you have the same thing? Perfect. Okay, so, and that is really what it is. It's the condition of being physically fit and healthy, the state or condition of being physically sound and healthy, especially as a result of exercise and nutrition. And that's really broad. I know there's health as this big bubble. Fitness is inside with nutrition, sleep. You've talked about all of those things already. But I'm working on fitness. So, physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscle that results in energy expenditure. And the benefits would be reducing your feelings of depression or anxiety. So if you guys are getting like stressed out, bummed out, whatever, exercise will help you with that. If you go out and 10 minutes around the track when you're feeling kind of bummed out about something, working out gives you endorphins and makes you feel better. You get a psychological well-being from just being fit. Being fit helps you feel better about yourself. It helps control weight, and you all have gone through BMI and body percent fat and healthy body composition, what that takes. And healthy body composition includes being under fat or over fat. So there are people who have barely over their essential fats. You need a balanced body composition to be healthy. It also reduces risk of type 2 diabetes and reduces your risk of cardiovascular disease. Anxiety and depression. When you work out, your body creates endorphins, and is there anyone in here who does not have either a sport inside or outside of Oaks that they train for or work out for? Everyone's in a sport of some kind, from horseback riding to dancing to lacrosse, football, basketball, beach volleyball. I've had all kinds, but aerial, someone did aerial. Okay. So you all have something, so you all know what it means to be working out and physically fit. And you all probably then know what it feels like to kind of get that endorphin high from working out. It makes you feel better. It gives you energy. That's why I love to work out in the morning. It gets me going for the day. And maybe some of you don't like to work out in the morning. You work out in the afternoon instead of having a 4 o'clock cup of coffee. You see people down at Starbucks after school at 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. You can go out and do a workout, and you'll get just as much energy from that. Probably won't taste as good. So, control your weight, BMI, percent body fat. Regular exercise increases your metabolism overall. So, the more lean you are, a lot of times you're warmer, like your body feels like it's working more, and it increases your metabolism and your muscle, and muscle burns more calories than fat. So a sedentary person needs to do less of the same activity to get the same benefit as somebody who a sedentary person has to do more of that activity to get the same benefit. It also lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes type 1 diabetes is your body just doesn't make insulin at all. It doesn't create it. Your pancreas just stopped. It doesn't make insulin. But type 2 diabetes is from health factors. You are overweight, you don't work out, what you eat. You can control that. You can control whether you get or have type 2 diabetes and whether you're pre-diabetic. Cardiovascular disease. Your body has high density and low density lipoproteins in it. your high-density lipoproteins carry your cholesterol. So if you take in foods and the foods have cholesterol, if you work out more, you have more high-density lipoproteins. And those proteins deliver the cholesterol to your liver for excretion. And so it gets rid of that as waste. It gets rid of the cholesterol as waste. The low-density lipoproteins deposit the cholesterol in your body cells. So, and then you get arteriosclerosis, you get heart disease, and that's why they say to not eat, to have exercise, have more high-density lipoproteins, and eat less cholesterol so that you don't get heart disease. Okay? And so we're going to move into designing a fitness plan using your FITT formula. So go to your training plan that you were handed out, and we're going to start with cardio. So cardio is, does everyone have it? If you don't, I have some up here. You don't have one? So here's one. Can you give him one? Or no, you have one?
Yeah, I got one.
You have one. Okay, so here, great. You need one?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so we're going to go to designing a fitness plan. So when someone comes to me as either a trainer or a group fitness instructor, if it's a group fitness class, I usually have a set plan for the class, and people pick the class based on what they want to do for their plan. But a training fitness program, I specifically design it for an individual person. So just different. So for cardio, you want to go for your cardiovascular. You want to go 3 to 5 days a week. So that'll be in your first block, 3 to 5 days a week. I tend to try to do 6 days a week. Give myself 1 day a week break. But that's because I have a goal right now of I'm trying to get faster for a 5K. I want to get faster for my own, just for myself, not for any other reason. I just think it'd be kind of fun to do. So that's 3 to 5 days a week on your fitness thing. Then the intensity, it's 60 to 80% of your max heart rate, which if you go to the chart on the back, now when I'm training people, I try to keep them between 140 up to 160. But that chart says that you all at your age could go up to 175 to 180 in your target heart rate. And that would be beats per minute, and you take it by radial pulse, or you wear a heart monitor, or you hold on to the handles on the elliptical machine for a minute, and it counts your beats per minute, and it tells you how hard you're working. If you're working in that training zone, you're working aerobically. And it's AEROBIC, aerobically, and it's where the aerobics class comes from, the whole term. It means that you are using large amounts of oxygen over a long period of time to have your body work at that level. So it's aerobic, and you're working in your target heart rate for 30 minutes. That's your timing, so 30 minutes. And you want to work at your target heart rate, and that's aerobic exercise because it's for a prolonged period of time with large amounts of oxygen. The 30 minutes used to be, in the early 80s up to the probably mid-90s, the rule of thumb was you had to work out 30 minutes or you may as well not even bother. So if you didn't have 30 minutes to go work out and sweat and get crazy in a high-low class to dance into China Grove, don't bother, because you need to do 30 minutes consecutively. That is not true. All the research in the last 5 to 10 years has said that if you do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, and 10 minutes at night, 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes for your day, and that equals 30 minutes of cardio for your day. So if you got up in the morning and you had 10 minutes before class, and you went out to the track and you got in your target training zone, and you went around for 10 minutes and you came into class, you'd have 10 minutes of cardio done, and then at lunch or a break time you did the same thing, and then after dinner you did another 10 minutes. You wouldn't ever have to have a chunk of 30 minutes time plus the get ready time, because if you work out for 30 minutes you're going to be a lot sweatier than if you work out for 10 minutes. you can get in a full day of cardio by breaking it up into 10-minute segments. So that has changed in the last 10 years, and that 30 minutes can be broken up however. And you can do more than that, obviously, but 30 minutes is a baseline for 3 to 5 days a week. Okay, we've gone through aerobic and anaerobic. Does anybody, wait, I haven't hit anaerobic because that's aerobic. So, there's two types of cardiovascular exercise, aerobic and anaerobic. Anaerobic then means the absence of oxygen. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't breathe and you don't use oxygen. What it means is that your body's demand for the oxygen is greater than what's available. So, when you're working aerobically in your target heart rate, you're working a long, steady period of time and your body pulls from fat stores to get the energy. When you're working anaerobically, it pulls from sugars and lactic acids to do something very, very high intensity, but for a short period of time. So if you're a sprinter, you play basketball, you sprint in the pool, you do, you're you're not a long distance, you're short distances. Anything that you do that's short spurts, those are anaerobic activities because they aren't sustained, prolonged, and they burn sugars and lactic acids to get energy. Okay, does everyone understand how that works? Okay, you need both kinds of exercise to have for your body. So, if you're a basketball player and you're playing a lot of the games, but you're doing short spurts. So you get out there, and it's the same thing like in hockey. I'm from Minnesota. My brother was a professional hockey player, so I understand hockey. They go out on the ice and kill each other for 30 seconds to 60 seconds, shooting, doing all this, and then they get off the ice because they can't do it. They are getting tired. Their body has burned sugars and lactic acids. They get back in, they rest, then they get back out there. They do it in shorter spurts. They don't. So, and same thing with basketball. You get out, you're running back and forth on the court, you're shooting, you're jumping, you're pivoting, you're doing all that, but you don't stay out there without a stop for the whole game. You come in, you take a rest, or there's stops in the play, right? So that would be anaerobic, but you would still need to do aerobic training to build endurance for your heart. So you would go into the gym, you do 30 minutes on the elliptical, 30 minutes on the treadmill, or you go for a run. You would do something else that wouldn't just be anaerobic. You would do some long sustained in your training zone. Because in basketball, you're breathing too hard sometimes to even talk much, or when you're out playing hockey, you couldn't hold a conversation. You're working above your training rate. You need that, but you also then need to work aerobically to build your heart. Your heart is a muscle, and it needs to be worked just like your legs, your biceps, your back, everything else. Okay? Does everyone get that? Mm-hmm. Yep? Okay. All right, so on cardio, you should have 3 to 5 days a week, 60 to 80%, and then on your timing it's 30 minutes, but it can be broken up. And we're going to move to resistance. Okay? Resistance is working with weights or resistance using your own body. There's a concentric motion and an eccentric motion to every motion. So if you're doing a bicep curl, the concentric motion is on the flex, so you're in, and your eccentric motion is on the way out. So an isometric movement, or actually motion, is there's no movement. So if you want to do abdominals isometrically, you hold a V-sit. V-sit is, you're in a V, you're sitting in a V, and you sit there for a really long time until your abdominals can't do it anymore. Your quads are working, your abdominals are working, and you're in a V-sit. That's an isometric hold. That would be the same thing as a plank. If you do planks, I think planking is like one of the cool things to do now. You go planking. It's planking. There you go. Well, only you got to be planking with your hand there. That's planking in a different way. Planking for exercise is planking like this, and you hold it for as long as you possibly can. All your muscles are as tight as possible. You hold them as tight as possible for as long as you can. Okay? So isometric is no movement. Isotonic your muscles move against resistance. That would be your push-ups, your lifting weights, pressing against weight, pressing against someone, using against resistance. And then there's isokinetic. Isokinetic is resistance through a full range. So one of the things that a lot of the books say is that isokinetic needs a specific kind of machine to help you create isokinetic motion. I don't necessarily think that that's fully true. I do isokinetic training using my body weight or a weight like this. If this were a weight and you're out and you're holding it away from your body, you've got weights, and you go slowly in, you're using the concentric motion to flex, and then if you went slowly away, you're using your muscle to on the eccentric motion, you're using your muscle too. So you're using the resistance of the weight pulling down. There are machines that do that. They're called gyrotonic machines. There are people that will train you on them. But if you wanted to do it on your own, you take even a squat machine. You're in the squat machine. You press away, and then you let the machine come in very, very slowly. And you're working both directions. You're pressing it away slowly, and you're bringing it in slowly. So that's isokinetic. There's a difference between muscular strength and muscular endurance. Muscular strength is the amount of force, it's the maximum amount of force that a muscle can produce in a single effort. So someone tells you they can bench press 400 pounds, and they can do it one time, that is muscular strength. That's their strength. So if you can bicep curl, squat, whatever the measurements are that for you, if you can squat 100 pounds, whatever it is, in one repetition, that's your muscular strength. But your muscular endurance is the ability for the muscle to continue without fatigue. So on your resistance chart, your frequency is 2 to 3 times a week. And I believe the intensity, I don't know exactly what Dan had for this block. The intensity for me would be if your maximum, or if your muscular strength, so if you can bicep curl one time 100 pounds, you're a big burly guy, you can do 100 pounds. I would take, say, 40 to 60% of that weight, and I would do 8 to 10 reps. So 50 to 60 or 40 to 60 pounds for 8 to 10 reps, depending on what you could do. And so I would say that the percentage would be 40 to 60 of your max muscular strength weight would be how many times you should rep on your resistance. Get it? Yeah. Okay. Then the intensity, so that's your intensity. Now I also, with some people, you not guess, but if their maximum strength is, if their muscular strength is 100 pounds on a bicep curl, and I'm just using 100 because it's easy, and 40 to 60% is 40 to 60 pounds, and you want to get them to volitional fatigue, and they can actually do more than 8 to 10 at 60 pounds, then I would up it so that at 8 to 10 they would be in a volitional fatigue, which means they can't do any more. So when I'm doing, I used this example before, when I'm doing push-ups in a class, and we do a set of 20, a set of 20, and on my third set of 20, my last one, I can barely push myself back up. I'm just like pushing, right? That is volitional fatigue for me. If I can do that last one of 20, that's my last set, then I've gotten better at it, then I might come down and hold in a bent arm press, say I'm halfway down, and then get myself to fatigue where I can't go up or down at all. That would be volitional fatigue. So on your timing, instead of how long on resistance, it really isn't how long you do it, it's just an 8 to 10 exercises, but covering all the groups of your body. And if you do the front muscle, you need to do the back muscle. So on your arm, if you do bicep curls, you really need to do tricep presses. So if you're working your bicep, you need to work the backside triceps. If you have overly strong biceps and weak triceps, you'll get an imbalance in your arm motion. So if you are a swimmer and you have no tricep strength and you have more, it messes with your shoulders. It pulls your shoulders forward and it's hard. Okay? So you need to stay balanced. So if you work your quads, you want to work your hamstrings. If you work your abdominals, you want to work your back. Most of the time that when people have back issues and their back isn't, it isn't a structural, like a bone problem or a disc problem, it's usually that their abdominals aren't strong enough and their back is pulling. And they're sore in their back, so you need to strengthen their abdominals. So that's resistance. Does anyone have any questions on cardio or resistance? Okay. On flexibility. Okay, so flexibility is range of motion around a joint. And you can't test each joint individually. So if someone comes in and I need to test them for flexibility, you test each area separately. You can't, like cardio, you can just test a 3-minute step test, and that tests how good you are at cardio in general. You can't do that with flexibility. There are people who can do splits across tables, but then they're really tight in their upper back, or they have some other issue that they're not flexible. So you need to test each joint individually. There's 2 different kinds of stretching that I note, and they are static stretching, which is the most safe and effective stretch. And that is where you hold a stretch position for 15 to 30 seconds. And ballistic stretching, under flexibility, it has 3 types, and I really don't know what the third type is. So you're going to have to figure that one out with your teacher, with Miss Sue, because I don't know what he had for that. The 2 types of stretching that I work with are static and ballistic. And ballistic stretching is when you rapidly stretch with a bounce. So you used to see this more, you don't see it very much anymore. But if I were in a stretch, I'm in a stretch position, a static stretch would just be to hold. But a ballistic would be you're stretching this way. When you do that, there's a reflex in your muscle that it stretches out, and you've already come back, but it hasn't come back, and by the time you're going back into the bounce, it's coming back. So it's a reflex that your muscle doesn't catch up to what your body's doing, and it can actually pull your muscle back in and hurt. So you need to go into a static stretch, just come down, hold 15 to 30 seconds. Okay? Don't ballistic stretch. That was like so 80s and 90s. You guys don't even know the 80s and 90s. So, don't do that. Alright, so did I go through, I went through HDL, went through LDL, I want to make sure, one of the things that you need to do, so when you look at this training plan, you go through your frequency and you have cardio 3 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes. You have resistance for as long as it takes you to do 8 to 10 exercises of all groups, and then you have flexibility. So it sounds like a lot that you have to do to get it all in and done. But you can do the cardiovascular intense 10-minute spurts, and you can do the resistance separate from. You can do it in a isometric way, so you can do planks, you can do V-sits. You don't have to be in the gym lifting weights. And the flexibility, you can do a lot. Like you can just stand in the kitchen and stretch. In classroom, if you're getting bored and tired, you can sit in your chair. Okay, all sit in your chair. You can take your right leg, and you can put your right leg up, and you can pull your toe towards you. Oh, you got long legs, you got to reach over the desk, bring your leg up higher. Like this. Come on. When you have long legs, you get to the other side of the desk. And then you can point it, and then you bring it down. And then you switch sides, and I don't think any teacher will care if you are just getting Got it? No?
Close enough.
All right, and you can put it down. Now, we had a few cracks in the last class. Listen closely. Take your right hand, take it to the left side of your chair. Or, excuse me, flip over, and then take, twist. Did I hear any cracks? The girl in the class before this got a full adjustment. And then switch sides.
Oh.
One side will usually be tighter than the other. Stretch.
Grace, put your hand on the other side.
Put this one over here, and then turn this straight, and then turn this way. There. Open up that chest. And stretch out during the day. See? Did you get a chiropractic adjustment? There you go. You guys are there. Listen, did you hear it?
Why'd you do the other way?
Okay, now go the other way. There. See? Open up the chest. There you go. You're good. It's all good. Okay, so when you start this program of cardio resistance and flexibility, you always need to have a warm-up and a cool-down. Your warm-up and your cool-down are 5 to 10 minutes each, but your warm-up is 5 to 10 easy minutes just to get your blood going, and you imitate or mimic the action you're going to be doing. So if you are a soccer player, you want to imitate what you will be doing. If you're a runner, you want to warm up to imitate what you will be doing. The difference would be soccer. You do a lot of kicking, and we were just going through this in between the classes, is you really want to warm up your hips and your knees for soccer. You're running a lot, but you have this whole, you're kicking all the time, so it's groin, hip, knees have to be warmed up. So you want to do knee lifts, you want to cross knee lifts, so you're here coming, working your adductors, and you also want to make sure that you're rotating through your hips so that when you do have to kick, you're not going to be injured. You want to do lunges, but you want to do them at a pace where it's a warm-up pace. You're not going at it hard. It's 5 to 10 minutes imitating what you're going to be doing, and then ease into the soccer. You could never go out, well you could, but you may end up getting hurt, is go out and play a soccer game having never warmed up. Go out and play basketball having never loosened up. You come from class, you're sitting in a chair for I don't know how many hours you guys sit in a chair a day, and you walk out on the basketball court and you try to pivot, turn, and take a jump shot. It's not going to happen. You need to warm up. So one of the other things that has changed a lot since I started teaching is your warm-up used to be that you would walk into the gym and the first thing you would do was just hit a stretch. You would walk in and you would sit down. You've probably seen old movies of like Jane Fonda or Jamie Lee Curtis where they were aerobics instructors or they were dancers or something. The first thing they would do is they would just stretch, cold. They wouldn't get their body moving, they wouldn't have any motion, and they would just stretch. When we went through the 80s and 90s with that, people got hurt a lot. There were a lot of injuries in classes. And it was people, we got certified starting in 1984. 82 I started teaching, 84. I started teaching because I couldn't afford a gym, so I thought, oh, I'll just teach aerobic classes. It'll be perfect. I love working out. So started teaching aerobic classes, and we needed to be certified then in 84. When we were certified, then there was more of this consistency in classes, but there were still injuries. And it was because people were not warming up. They were coming into class, and you would just stretch. And you'd stretch with a bouncy stretch, because that's what we used to do, ballistic stretching. It was all moving, moving. There was no warm-up, and then people were getting injured in classes. So the warm-up needs to consist of 5 to 10 minutes, easy minutes, to get your blood going, get your muscles, get oxygen flowing, and imitate the motion you're going to do. When I do a kickboxing class, when I'm going to teach a kickboxing class, my warm-up is low punches, uppercut, hooks, all the motions, but at a very minimal level, and then I move into a little bit bigger, more of a stretch, and then the class. So I imitate what I'm going to be doing. In my cool down, it's 5 to 10 minutes of reduced movement with stretching. So you just take the movement and you reduce it down. So if you've just played a basketball game, I think you actually probably do this, but you shouldn't. When you're done with the basketball game, there isn't really a cool down. I don't see it at games or at a soccer game. There's never a cool down period. You score that last goal, you win, and then you walk off the field. And you go to the locker room or you go somewhere. You really should give your body time to cool down from that work, because it's work. You're out there for 2 hours or whatever, running around. You really should take time to slow down the motion, stretch, and then go to the locker room. Or go get dressed or shower or whatever it is that you do. But a lot of people don't do that. Stretching, warming up and cooling down reduces your risk of injury. And long term, if you stay flexible and warmed up without injury, long term when you're as old as me, you won't have the crazy injuries that a lot of people have. I mean, a lot of people, as you get older, you just get tighter. You don't have the ability to do the things that you used to do. So that's warming up and cooling down on your cardio. So if you did a class, if you made a training program for yourself, mine would look like I warm up or 5 to 10 minutes. If I'm going to do a kickboxing class, I warm up 5 to 10 minutes. I do a kickboxing class. At the end of the 30 minutes, I would do resistance training. The resistance training would be sit-ups, planks, V-sits, push-ups, work down my body. I go from top to bottom. And then I would stretch, and then, or cool down, and then a little bit of a stretch. That would be my workout plan for a kickboxing class. If I were on a day where I was just going to do resistance training, I would do 5-minute warm-up. So I'd hop on an elliptical. If I was going to go in that weight room downstairs, I would hop on the elliptical for 5 minutes. I would elliptical it out for 5 minutes, go do my resistance training, come back, cool down, stretch, and go on. So if I was going to separate out. But I would always do a warm-up and cool down, whether I am, even if I'm doing just like a stretch class, if I'm teaching a stretch class, warm up, cool down. Always get blood flowing to your muscles before you do the activity. Okay? Does anybody have questions, or did I skip over anything that... yeah.
What is aerobic again?
Aerobic is with oxygen. So your body uses large amounts of oxygen for an enduring period, a long period of time in your training zone. So you're working in your training zone. Anaerobic is working outside your training zone for a short period of time. The other thing that is important for me, what I do is it's important to me that I have a fast recovery rate, and I like that for the people in my classes too. The recovery rate is when you hit your training zone and you're working out hard, and say you go on a run and you're running for an hour. And when you're done with that run, like the kids after school, the cross country, they go out and they run like Westlake. They run all over Westlake and they come back. If a minute after they've stopped running, their heart rate is the same or higher than it was when they ended, they have a slow recovery rate. They're still up in their training zone. They aren't in as good a shape as the person who runs, finishes, and a minute later their heart rate's down to 120, 140 if they were at 160. So for me, my recovery rate's important to me because I know that I'm not in as good a shape if I can't recover as quickly. You'll see some of these, like you see the guys, the track stars on the Olympics. They run like crazy. They do that finish line, and then they go over and they just talk to the camera. I'd be like sucking wind if I had to run that sprint, right? I would just be dying if I had to run that sprint they just ran. But they have trained, their bodies recover really quickly. And that's what physical fitness and activity does. It helps your body recover from the work that you place on it. And you'll see it in your soccer players, your star athletes at school. You see it in I see it in moms that come to my classes, moms and dads that come to my classes. They get better and better at recovering, and the recovery rate is important. One of the things that I think is important in this plan is to set short-term goal and a long-term goal. And your short-term goal could be something like I mentioned mine is getting a better 5K time, a faster 5K time. Well, I have no reason to want to run faster than a 5K other than just for myself. I just want to do it. I want to know that as I hit 50 years old this summer, and as I hit 50 years old, I want to know that I can still do what I did when I was younger. Because my long-term goal is I'm 50 years old. I have 35 to 40 more years to live. And I want to play golf. I still would like to be able to jump on the trampoline, go swimming, ski, do all of the things that I do now. And I'd love to be doing those at 85. And so my goal with a lot of short-term goals, I'll reach my long-term goal. And that's really all, long-term goal for you guys might be even that when you hit 30, you're working a job, but you're still running, say you like to run, you're still running Ironmans or whatever it is that you like to do. Your short-term goal may be that you just finish a race faster than the last time by a second or by half a second or whatever your timing is. Okay? It may be that you start a new cross-training project. But if you come up with short-term goals and then you have a long-term goal, those short-term goals will always help your long-term goal. Am I over time or not time? Okay, good. So, does anybody have questions about how they would train for their specific sport or have questions about the way that you would set up your fitness plan? Does everyone here go down and use the gym? Is there anyone who doesn't go to a gym ever? Because that's interesting. So do you work out outside of a gym?
Yeah,
Like
I
walk,
just stretch.
run, stretching. Okay. So if you can add, if you don't want to go to a gym or you don't think you have the time to do that, if you took time to get in some cardio, you're stretching, and you did it before you're stretching, it would help your stretching. Because everything, it's chiropractic. It's everything in your body works together. And so if you don't necessarily go to a gym and have someone telling you, this is the program you have to do for our sport this season, then you may want to just add in a little bit of cardio, 10 minutes at a time. Do it with your flexibility. You can always stretch while you're studying. Don't get study back, lay on your stomach and look like this, and then you have to walk around like this because you've been like this the whole time. That's when you want to stretch and reach over. Stretch out your back. Yes. Did you have a question?
Oh, no.
No? Doing your hair? Okay. So everybody else goes down and uses this gym here. So you know that there's ellipticals, there's a flywheel bike, which is a spin class bike. There's not a recumbent, but there's regular bikes. And then it looks like Mr. Jacobson's always in there. Is he always in the gym, pretty much?
No, not all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He must be to have it supervised? Okay. So you can go down there and he, I'm sure, would be happy to show you how to use weights, but you can always use your body weight as resistance. I have actually, in changing my cross-training a little bit as I've gotten older, I've gotten to a part where I do less weights, actual weight resistance, and a lot more isometric and isokinetic using my own body weight to work. And it's helped. It's been great. I like it. I don't have to go find big old weights. Plus the gyms are smelly sometimes. So, and I like being outside. So, does anyone have any questions on their specific workout that their coach has them doing? Okay. You guys are they ready to rock, or
Yeah.
is it too early?
I'm sure you have a professional here that does this for a living, so any
Yeah.
questions you have on how to do a certain
Yeah.
exercise?
Yeah.
Okay, for my sport, I played water polo. We warm up swimming, right? And then cool down, if I play like a specific position, I play goalie, is it better for me to like swim like normal laps or legs?
Well, you know what? For goalie position, you're using your legs a lot because you're having to pop yourself up and you're doing a lot of arm. I would take a couple laps of long, just long stretch motion, because you're kicking underwater constantly and everything's short kicks. I would take long kicks, and I would take long strokes, and I would do laps to cool yourself down, and then come out of the pool and stretch, or stretch on the side of the pool. When I was on swim team, we used to stretch on the side of the pool, just by like putting your leg up on the side of the pool,
Okay.
and stretching forward on the pool. So say this is the edge of the pool and you're in the water, you just put your leg up on it, on the inside, and stretch forward. You're like this more. You're not,
okay.
you're not like this. You're not standing up. But you know what I mean. So yeah, I would do, but you definitely need to do laps, especially because you feel like you haven't really sweated and worked in like water polo because you're wet and you're cool kind of,
Yeah.
but you really need to cool down.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're cool, like if you're outside, like so now you're running and it's cool outside, and you think, oh, I hardly even sweated. I didn't even sweat. Whatever. You worked, your muscles need to be stretched, and you need to cool down. Anyone else? Okay, so here's the thing you need to remember. You need to work out 3 to 5 times a week for sure. It'll help you be happy. You need to smile, because if you smile, even if you fake it, you're happier. And working out makes you happy. It'll give you endorphins that'll make you happier. Right, Aaron?
Right.
Right. His mom and I are really good friends. Okay. If that's it, do you have anything else to cover? Alrighty, you're out of here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Have a good day.